Hi everybody, this is Oksana, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this pendant. It requires a teardrop cabochon. It could also be a triangle, in which case you would have the two angles kind of here. And it uses some pretty thick 14 gauge half round wire, so it's a little harder to bend, but it holds the stone nicely. So if you want to see how I made this pendant, just keep watching, and as always, all of my jewelry that I make in my tutorials is auctioned off in the community section of my YouTube channel. You can see that if you go to my YouTube channel. I think there's one auction there that's an example that everyone can see, but the regularly weekly auctions are only visible to members of my channel that are friend or insider level. So that's it. Let's get started. So I'm starting with a 10-inch piece of this really thick half round wire. This is 14 gauge. So you can see this looks a lot thicker than the normal half round wire that we work with. And what I'm going to do is I have this stone, a little teardrop that's just a little smaller than an inch. Let's just say it's about an inch. And it's a little wider here at the top, so it's one of those teardrops that's a little wider, and I think that works better. Also, if you have a triangular stone, that works really well also. But if you don't, then just a teardrop will do. So just hold your wire in the middle. So try to find the middle of your wire and make a gentle little bend. You don't want to change it so that it gets twisted. You want the flat side to be on the back and then the rounded side to be here on the front. So just make just a little kind of curve in it. And then the way you want to put this on your stone is you don't want to put it too high up like this, because then the stone will fall out. You want to hold it pretty far down like this, so that what's happening here is when I bend the wire ends, like I'm doing now, towards the back here, the stone is being held nicely in place because where the wire is holding it is narrower than up here. And that's why triangular stones work as well, because you'll have a little point on each side here of the triangle and it won't be able to pop through the bottom there. So it'll work really nicely. Now here on the back, you just want to grab your pliers and you want to take the wire here where it kind of intersects in the middle, and you want to turn it, but you don't want to, sorry, my plier slipped a little bit. You don't want to change the way that it's facing, so it still needs to stay half rounded, side up, flat side down. It might be easier actually to take the stone out, because if you take the stone out, then you can kind of get in there with your pliers. Just make sure it stays symmetrical and that you don't bend this, you know, too much to one side versus the other side, that it's kind of nice in the middle there. And then you want to line these up so the half rounded side is facing me and the flat side is here, and you can put your stone in just to check if anything's changed when you made that bend. So nothing's changed, it's still good. And the stone doesn't pop out. You definitely want to check for that. Now I'm going to use some thinner half round wire, and this is some 22 gauge. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to wrap around, putting the flat side down, the half rounded side up. I'm just wrapping around these two wires so that I connect them like this. So the wire end here on the bottom, we can just trim that. and press it down so it's here. This part will be covered up by the stone. Just kind of slide that down. All right, and then just guide your little wire with one hand, and as you twist, it'll wrap around, and you don't need to do this for very long. It's just so they get held together nicely and they don't separate. So I'm just trying to use up all of my wire there. So here's what it looks like on the back and on the front, and same thing as we did on bottom, we're just going to trim so that we have that little wire end there, and this won't be visible because it's going to be kind of on the inside. So then I'm taking my little Ruby Zoisite Cabochon, and I'm kind of pushing my stone in there, making sure it's nice and centered. And then what you can do is you can either manually kind of shape the bail, or you can get some bail making pliers or round nose pliers, or you can just hold it with regular pliers as well and just bend it to make this kind of rounded shape, okay, which is what I did here because I didn't grab my bail making pliers. So once you do that, you just want to pinch the top here, and you want to bring these wires to the side. So just kind of opened them up there like that. All right, and as you continue to hold it, or you can even come back to holding it with your pliers if you want, because you don't want these two wires to move away from each other. But you just want to bend these to the back. And be careful because your stone can pop out the top. Can't pop out the bottom, but it can still pop out the top. We'll fix that. But just for the time being, it moves. So just push it back down. Okay, so here's our wires, and they're coming from the back, and we're just going to grab them and we're going to turn them inwards, the little end of the wire, and basically wrap it around this wire here. Like this. Now it's kind of tricky because it's such a thick wire and it's hard to work with. Like you can't just pull on it, for example, but you can use your pliers. So I've made a fairly tight wrap there. And now I'm just kind of bringing it back around. And now I'm trimming it, but I'm leaving myself a little end. As I trim it, you can see that little end. So don't trim it super short, because you want to take that little end and you want to tuck it inwards and just kind of press down on it so that you don't see it from the front. Okay, and now this is holding the edge of the stone so it's not going to pop up. You want to keep pulling your stone down until you secure it from the top, because if it pushes through and then you wrap them, you might have wrapped it like not in the place where the stone is meant to be, and it'll be wobbly. So now we're just going to do the same thing with the other one. So we're just going to have a nice tight wrap there, like that. And we're just going to trim and leave ourselves a little wire end so that we can tuck it away. And I'm just kind of following that wire as it goes around, and I'm just pressing that little wire end inwards. If you can reach it from the inside, that's helpful too. You can just really lay it flat. So now it's connected on both edges here, so the stone can go up. So it can't come down because this wire is holding it at a narrower point, and this point is too wide to push down through, and then these wires hold it on top. So that's how we've trapped our stone in, and that is how we've created this. This wobbles from side to side just the tiniest bit. So you can try to, I'm just putting like a little angle in this wire, just try to like adjust it a little so it pushes down on the stone. There we go, that prevented them wobbling. See the little angles there that were formed? It's gonna grab the stone a little further along the edge here, and it's gonna prevent it from wobbling side to side. So one cool way that you can do this design is if you have a teardrop that's long and skinny, and then you also, when you make your bail, you make it really tall, then this will look kind of like a sword or a dagger, and that's kind of a cool look too. So that's it. That is this quick and easy pendant. Basically uses just one piece of wire. It does use a little bit of half round there for that connection, but so 2 pieces of wire, let's say. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!